All right, then we'll move to the Assistant Superintendent's report. Dr. Santana.
The attached reports tonight will provide the board with financial information through April 30th, 2020. This represents 83% of the fiscal year. The first report begins on board book page 6. This is the monthly summary report. As you can see on this page, the total operating revenue for the month was about $1.2 million, with 36% coming from interest on investment, 23% coming from property tax and CPPRT, 23% coming from federal and state reimbursements, and then 13% coming from evidence-based funding, which is our traditional state funding that we receive every month. The total operating expenditures for the month were approximately $2 million, with 75% of that towards salary and benefits, 9% towards special education tuition, and 7% towards operations and maintenance. On the next page, the monthly financial statements, you'll see that year-to-date in the operating fund, the district has received approximately $25,505,324 and has expended a little over $22 million. This surplus will definitely be continued to be spent down over the remainder of this fiscal year, as the district does not anticipate receiving significant revenue for the remainder of the fiscal year. We may receive some additional payments.
Mr. Connors, can you share your screen so that the public can see the reports that Ms. Smetana is describing? Thank you. Sorry, Kristen.
That's okay. So as I was saying, we currently have about, when you're looking at the revenue we collected this year as well as expenditures, we roughly have about a $3 million surplus, and that will certainly be continued to be spent down the remainder of this fiscal year, which is May and June, as the district does not anticipate receiving any significant revenue for the remainder of the fiscal year. The only thing that's out there is state reimbursements for categorical grants such as special education tuition, transportation, driver's education, and we are not necessarily anticipating the state making those payments this year. We'll know more in June. On board book page 8, this is a summary of revenues that shows that the district has received 96% of our revenue in the operating funds for this year. However, this is really due to unexpected funding sources. Without this additional revenue, the district would have collected 95% of the budgeted revenue, which is 2% lower than where we were at this point last year. Just to highlight the biggest unexpended funding sources this year, interest income. The market was very good, and the township treasurer as a whole had more money, pooled money to invest on behalf of all the districts, so we received an additional $200,000 over what we had budgeted for. IMET, which I had talked about a few board meetings ago, we received revenue about $58,000. C-Power Energy Savings, which the former business manager enrolled the district in, is $28,000 in additional revenue. And then from our insurance cooperative, we received $12,000 for participating in the wellness program and having a majority of our staff participate. On the next page, in board book, this is a summary of expenditures, which shows that the district has spent about 83% of our expenditures, and this is about where we were at this time last fiscal year. We were at 81%. So we're tracking relatively similar when you look at the operating funds. The next document I provide every month, this is just for the board's information. This is begins on board book page 10. It's the statement of revenues and expenditures for the month, which outlines all of the budget to actuals for each account. Next, on board book page 21, this is something new that I added for this month. This is the projected fiscal year financial impact from COVID-19. As you can see from this document, there's a very minimal financial impact on this year due to COVID-19. We certainly lost some significant revenue, but you have to remember a majority of our revenue comes from property tax, and that had already occurred for the most part. And then we did have some savings in expenditures, but overall, it had a very minimal financial impact on the district in fiscal year 20. you'll see a much bigger impact in fiscal year 21 and the years to come. And then also in my report on board book page 23, this is also just for the board's information I provided every month. It is the activity that occurred in student activity accounts for the month of April. Keep in mind that that testing account will continue to have a large balance, and so we pay that College Board bill in June. Lastly, in my board report, I wanted to touch on the blend and extend options for electricity contract. So the district currently has a 3-year agreement. We are in year 1 of 3 with a vendor to purchase the district's electricity. The vendor has what's called a blend and extend program, which could possibly save the district anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 should the opportunity arise. Blend and extend is an opportunity to lower the district's price of electricity in the middle of an agreement if the market were to drop to a lower price point. This program would require the district to sign a contract within a 3 to 5 day turnaround time to approve the new rate. It does not modify any of the existing contract language other than the price, and it certainly does not extend the contract terms either, or the length of the contract. So should this opportunity arise for the district, the administration would like to take advantage of it. And I believe under board policy 4:60, that the superintendent or designee should be able to do this on behalf of the board, since it is a budgeted expense and the district is not entering into a new contract or in a new agreement or altering any of the terms. But nevertheless, I wanted to notify the board of this possibility, and then should the opportunity arise, I would certainly update the board of the possible savings and the new agreement that we were able to secure on behalf of the district. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chris. And Michael, can we go back and show the screen to the board members on page 22 of board book?
So, Christian, quick question. What is the labor number per month with faculty and staff?
It varies from month to month. I believe in May, it'll probably be about 1.5. But then in June, we have a lot of the stipends, the coaching stipends that come off the books. So it will be lower in June. So I don't know that exact number. But yeah, I anticipate, roughly $3 million just in salaries in the next 2 months.
Well, you've read my mind.
Okay, Mike, so I don't know if you can make it any bigger, but just so they can see page 22, because I think we glanced over that. You stayed on 21. Scroll down to 22. And so just so the board sees, we're basically losing roughly $355,000 in revenue from COVID. 361, we're saving 361 in expenditures. So for FY20, our impact was less than $6,000. Kristen's anticipating an impact of less than $6,000. However, we think the significant impact of COVID-19 will affect us in FY21 as the collection of property taxes is delayed, maybe delinquent, CPPRT could be reduced. We can also see a reduction in the categorical payments. As Kristen mentioned, now we still have a few payments that are due this year, but we don't think we're going to get those before June 30th. So those will hit us in FY21, but it will be lost revenue for FY20. So I think it's important to touch on this. I think we've received a couple questions from the community, and so I just wanted to make sure we highlighted that. In regards to the electricity contract that Kristen mentioned, we thought it was important just to put this on record with the board. As she stated, in the Finance Advisory Council felt the same way last week when we discussed this, that if it's an opportunity to save the district some money and it's not altering the terms of the agreement or entering into a new agreement, that it would be okay for us to assign, for the administration to sign an amended rate. So that was just a formality that we wanted to make sure was on the record with the board.
Are there any questions from the board? Yeah, Ramona.
I just wanted to thank Kristen again for staying on top of the wellness program and offering the incentives that she did, because I know it took a lot of time, and then the incentives that she was able to offer, and then to have the $12,000 payoff on the back end is really nice, right? So thank you, Kristen.
All right, so we'll move to old business. We have life safety and capital improvement.